Talk about when family sends witchcraft your way. Now, there's a different kind of pain when it's not strangers casting against you, but your own blood. When the people who share your name, your memories, your DNA become the ones secretly praying against your peace, it's not just witchcraft, it's betrayal wrapped in lineage. And the hardest thing about it is you can easily cut off what runs through your veins. You can't easily cut off what runs through your veins. So let's talk the truth. Some of the most dangerous warfare isn't from the outside, it's inherited. It's envy dressed in I'm just concerned. It's manipulation disguised as I just want the best for you. It's that sudden heaviness you feel after talking to certain relatives, that strange fatigue after family gatherings, that confusion that hits you right after you shared your good news. That's not coincidence. That's energetic sabotage. And when you're chosen, your light, your light doesn't just attract strangers. It irritates the spirits in your own bloodline that never healed, never forgave, and never elevated. See, I'm speaking from firsthand being that victim. See, witchcraft isn't always potions and candles. It's spoken curses. It's jealousy turned into intent. It's resentment turned into ritual. It's gossip meant to destroy your name before your destiny can even bloom. It's wordcraft, not just witchcraft, because spells are often spoken before they're ever cast. And some of you feel it. You've been questioning why you can't sleep after visiting certain relatives. Why every time you start winning, chaos rises in the family. Why your dreams show certain faces watching you, whispering, plotting. You're not paranoid. Your spirit is revealing what your eyes can't see. The truth is, they sense what's on you. They know the anointing you carry would break patterns they benefited from. They fear your freedom because your healing exposes their bondage. You are the evidence that the curse can be broken. And instead of celebrating that, they try to block it. But let me tell you something. You cannot curse what God has already claimed. You cannot hex what heaven has already marked. The reason their plots didn't stick to me is because my calling is covered by something older than their envy. It's covered by divine covenant. See, our ancestors who prayed, right? The ones who wanted peace and truth to reign, they stand with you. You're not fighting them, you're freeing them. You're closing doors that were opened generations ago. You are the breaker of patterns, the end of a cycle. So, yes, when they send energy your way, it returns to its sender. Not because you retaliated, no, but because your aura refuses contamination. Your boundaries, they're blessed. Your sleep, it's guarded. Your intuition is your alarm system. You don't need to light counter candles. You just need to stay aligned. Your silence will speak for you. Your growth will expose them. Every time you rise, their intent will reveal itself, not through confrontation, but through their discomfort. You'll notice who avoids your joy, who looks uneasy around your peace, who grows distant when your light expands. That's not discernment talking. Just listen. You are not obligated to keep calling what keeps cursing you. Love from a distance. Forgive them without giving them access. And understand that blood doesn't equal loyalty, spirit does. And sometimes, family are the very first to test your spiritual armor. So, what do you do when family sends witchcraft your way? You don't panic, you posture. You stand firm in your identity. You speak life every morning. You anoint your home, not with fear, but with faith. You speak these words. I return all energy not aligned with love to its origin. transformed into light because I reclaim my peace. Because you're not fighting flesh, because you're breaking patterns. And the moment you realize that, you stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding your calling. Let them talk, let them plot, let them whisper. You keep building, you keep cleansing, you keep glowing. Because protection isn't something you ask for anymore. It's something you are. Your spirit is ancient. Your purpose is prophetic. The same bloodline that tried to bury you will one day have to admit it was your obedience that freed them. The warfare came through them, but the victory will come through you. So don't shrink when the attacks come from familiar faces. Don't question your worth because they turned on you. Some battles come through family so that you can end what your family never could. Let's go a little bit further. That heaviness you feel after talking to certain relatives, that strange fatigue after family gatherings, the confusion that hits you right after you shared your good news. Again, not coincidence, but energetic sabotage. Because not every congratulations is pure. Some words carry residue. Some hugs are loaded with intent. And some people are spiritual siphons. They draw from your energy because they never built their own. See, you thought you were just being polite when you kept answering their calls, showing up, explaining your dreams, and letting them in. But what you were really doing was giving free access to people who were silently measuring your blessings against their bitterness. And it's deeper than jealousy. Jealousy fades, right? Because this is spiritual resentment. It's when someone feels entitled to your downfall because your peace exposes their chaos. They cannot explain why you still glow after all they've done to tear you down. How do you still build after all they know you lost? Why your name still carries favor when their gossip is carried through the energy of the air. So instead of healing, they send. Instead of repenting, they project. The witchcraft they send doesn't always show up as curses. Sometimes it shows up as confusion, fatigue, isolation, and self-doubt. Because they speak your name in worry but mean it in war. They pray for you to stay humble but secretly want you broken. They call it family concern, but heaven calls it spiritual interference. And the reason you feel so deeply is because you carry discernment. That pit in your stomach when you're around certain people, that isn't anxiety. That's your spirit saying this space isn't safe. That moment when your joy dims for no reason after the visit, that's your energy recalibrating after being touched by unseen intent. You're not crazy. You're conscious. And when you start understanding how energy works, you stop explaining how peace feels. Because peace is loud to people living in chaos. Your joy becomes their trigger. Your success becomes their exposure. But here's what they don't understand. Your protection doesn't depend on their approval. You don't need to fight them. Your frequency does that for you. You just need to stay elevated, stay aligned, and stay pure in your intentions. Witchcraft sent from within the family line always returns to its origin when it meets a purified spirit, because energy cannot attach where truth resides. That's why lately you've been feeling called to separate, not because you're better, but because you are evolving, you're elevating, you're rising. Now, God removes access before he releases your overflow. Some of your isolation isn't punishment, it's insulation. He's protecting what he's building in you from what your family refuses to heal within themselves. And sometimes The most spiritual act you can do is to stay silent while they misjudge you. Let them say you've changed. They're right. You're no longer the vessel they can pour their pain into. You've closed the leak. And when you stop being available to absorb their projections, they call you distant. But distance is the new defense. The time of explaining yourself to the unhealed is over. This is your season of peace by any means necessary. If you have to eat alone, so be it. If you have to love them from afar, do it with grace, because your boundary is your blessing. Let's be honest. Some of what you carry or what you're carrying didn't even start with you. It's generational. It's patterns of envy and sabotage that jump from one relative to another because no one ever faced it spiritually. You're the first to see it clearly. You're the first to stop saying, that's just how they are, and start saying that's not of God. When family sends witchcraft, what they're really sending is proof that you've disrupted something ancient. Your elevation, your rise, your blessings are proof that their control is over. And that's what they can't stand. They can hex you, but they can try to distract you as well. That's why random arguments start, why your sleep gets heavy, why your motivation dips for no reason. You're under spiritual observation, but you're not under attack. There's a difference. Attack means they have access. Observation means they're watching what they can no longer touch. So instead of fighting them, fortify yourself and speak daily. Say, I am covered in the blood of Jesus. I am covered in divine light. I return all energy sent against me back to its source, transmuted into truth. And my lineage is free. My individual bloodline, my children and my children's children are free. Don't feed the warfare. Starve it with peace. Don't fear what they send. Outshine it with gratitude. Don't let their bitterness trick you into reacting, because reaction reopens the portal. What's protecting you is bigger than what's pursuing you. And that's why they're frustrated, because they can't figure out how you keep standing. They sent confusion, but you came back with clarity. They sent chaos, but you responded with calm. They tried to block opportunities, but favor found another route. Every time they whispered your name with intent, your angels wrote it in a ledger marked evidence. Heaven keeps receipts. The same mouths that cursed you will one day have to speak your testimony. You were never meant to return to who they remember. You were meant to rise into who they can't recognize. That's why they're uncomfortable. Your transformation invalidates their gossip. So let the energy clear. Let the cycles close. Let the silence speak. You are not the target. You are the lesson. And the lesson is this: no weapon, no whisper, no ritual, no rumor can override divine order, because your lineage has reached its turning point. And you are the chosen vessel of reversal. The same family that once sent you warfare will one day experience your covering, because grace doesn't hold grudges. It just keeps records of who stayed faithful through the fire. So breathe. You don't owe explanation. You owe continuation. When people talk about family sending witchcraft, there are usually 3 layers happening at one time. It's spiritual, it's energetic, and it's emotional. Now, there are curses that are spoken as conversation, and there is group repetition, and there is emotional intent. Let me move further with this. Now, say for instance, the word is about you, you'll ruin everything. He'll never make it without us. Those are just statements. Now, that's energetic decrees. What about when I said group repetition? When multiple relatives repeat gossip, it becomes a collective projection. It's like an echo. that solidifies energy around you. And let's speak about emotional intent. Anger, envy, resentment, or control that is charged with emotion can become spiritual fuel. That's why in so many cultures, elders warned about speaking death over someone. Words carry spiritual voltage. Let's speak about spiritual witchcraft, manipulative witchcraft. This is when emotional control and gossip are used as tools to weaken you spiritually or mentally. They will begin to isolate you, they will defame you, and they will drain your energy. Let's go into details and how that's done. They will cut off your support so you lose confidence and seem unstable. They will create confusion about your character to keep others from believing you. They will constantly involve you in chaos and conflict or guilt so you're too exhausted to focus on your own growth. This kind of witchcraft uses psychological exhaustion as its altar. So you don't need candles when you have confusion doing the work. What about the ritual or the ancestral witchcraft? Sometimes, yes, it can evolve or involve physical rituals, herbs, names written on paper, objects placed in your path. But the core power isn't the ritual, it's the intent behind it. When a family member chooses to send energy with focused intent and unhealed rage, it binds to whatever tools they believe amplify it. But here's the secret. Faith and alignment outrank fear and superstition. No matter what's used, if your vibration is not in agreement, it cannot attach. So why would family turn against one of its own? Now, this is the heartbreaking part, but it's the truth most people don't want to face, as I. You're the pattern breaker, right? Every family has cycles of envy, poverty, silence, favoritism, abuse, and pride. When you're the one called to heal or rise above those cycles, you threaten the system. You're a mirror to what everyone else refuses to address. Healing feels like rebellion to those who benefit from dysfunction. What about jealousy disguised as justice? Many families will hide envy under, "You think you're better than us." They don't always hate your success. They hate that it proves they could have done better too. Your growth feels like their exposure. The comfort, what about the comfort of collective cruelty when they all involve themselves in it? You have, in my case, it was my father's family's elders, which were his siblings. It was their children also that were involved, right? And they would reach to people that I knew. They would reach to people on my job. They would just reach to my siblings. But when one person is target, others join in because it relieves them of responsibility. They don't want to be next. So they stay silent. Or worse, they participate to stay in the circle. I had a cousin who was a best friend. I thought she was. And until the day she called and announced that all my children would die. You heard me right. My father's niece. And I was in utter shock. I cried uncontrollably. And once I notified the elder said I brought it on myself. That's mob energy. The same spirit that once said, "Crucify him." Once gossip starts, it gives permission for people to project their own pain onto you. And when that projection becomes tradition, it's no longer seen as evil. It's seen as entertainment. They begin to enjoy it. They don't take it so serious because it's not them, because they're watching it, right? And what about this generational resentment? Some families carry buried resentment through the bloodline. A father who favored one side, a mother who sowed division, siblings competing for attention. That energy doesn't die, it transfers, right? This was a story that was told to me by my father because he was believed to be the favorite. Now, when the spiritual cycle repeats, whoever carries the most light becomes the new scapegoat, which was his favorite, and that was me. So, why so many know and stay silent? Because confronting it would mean a breaking allegiance to the dysfunction that feeds them. Some fear losing belonging. Some enjoy the chaos because it distracts from their own emptiness. And some are simply spiritually asleep and they don't even realize they're participants. In every toxic family system, there are senders, there are watchers, and there are silencers. The senders initiate the harm. The watchers, they spectate and they gossip. And the silencers, they know what's happening, but they do nothing. And their silence gives it permission to continue. That's why spiritual warfare in family often feels like you versus everyone. You're standing against a structure that's been rehearsed for years. What stops it? How does you end this generational curse and cycle to protect the following generations, right? Because witchcraft loses force the moment you step out of emotional agreement with it. You stop feeding it when you refuse to defend yourself. Don't argue or prove your worth. Stop absorbing it when you stop absorbing it when you guard your peace and speak words of life consistently. Because what they don't tell you is this: every spell needs agreement, conscious or unconscious. Once you say, I don't receive that energy, heaven honors it. That's how you break it. Not through rage and screaming and shouting, but through refusal. You are your own firewall. You ever notice how the attacks hit hardest when peace finally settles in? And that's not coincidence. That's recognition. The moment light or your energy stabilizes or you feel peace, darkness remembers it has a contract to break it. And sometimes that contract lives under your own last name. Family witchcraft isn't always cauldrons and curses. It's conversation turned into intent, gossip turned into ritual, and envy disguised as care. It's the silent prayer that says, may they learn humility, when what's really meant is, may they lose momentum, right? They don't want you to continue to gain ground, right? To move forward in your purpose, to stay on your path. Because it's the cousin who smiles at your glow, but secretly studies the dimming of your confidence. It's the sibling who claps for your success while whispering, they think they're chosen. They think they're better. Let's tell the truth. Witchcraft and families work through agreement. The ritual isn't always physical, it's emotional technology. When enough hearts align in jealousy, that alignment becomes a current. And the current starts pulling at your peace, your focus, and your energy. It wants to confuse you into believing you're under attack, when really you're under awakening. See, the light bearer or the family favorite or a favorite or a chosen one in a family, the light bearer carries an energy that exposes what's unhealed. And that's what many don't realize. A light bearer in a family isn't there to cause harm, it's there to bring healing. Only if the family embraces them will the family evolve and even be blessed tremendously. But the moment that light bearer has to move away, so does their blessings, right? So your clarity reveals their confusion. Your discipline convicts their comfort, and your blessings irritate dormant potential. You don't even have to speak. Your existence testifies. You live long enough, your existence testifies. That's why they target you. Not because you're perfect, you may be far from it, but because you're proof that grace still works. Proof that curses can end, and proof that you don't need their permission to prosper. And when people can't control your favor, they try to control your narrative. That's the real spell. Defamation. Defamation of character. They plant words that reshape how others see you so they can recreate your reality. But here's what they forget: energy only manifests where agreement lives. When you stop agreeing with fear, their words lose voltage. When you stop defending yourself, the battle becomes God. Family witchcraft often begins with competition that was never even confessed. The aunt who compared, the parent who favored, the sibling who silently vowed to show you. Over time, that energy matures into sabotage, be it casual, but yet clever, and then even collective. One throws shade, another adds gossip, and then the third may stay silent. Together, they build an altar made of assumptions. But the light bearer's protection doesn't come from hiding, it comes from alignment. So when your spirit remains clean, their intent has nowhere to land. That's why purity isn't weakness, it's armor. They can study your moves, but they can't study your anointing. They can copy your faith, but not your permission. You break their power by staying unpredictable in grace. You worship when they expect worry. You rest when they send chaos. You bless when they curse. And that reversal confuses darkness because darkness doesn't know what to do with light that doesn't fight back. So, how does family witchcraft actually work? It works through three exchanges: words, emotion, and focus. Words cast it, emotion fuels it, and focus feeds it. That's why you must control your conversation, guard your heart, and discipline attention. The moment you stop rehearsing the pain, you starve the portal. They expect you to unfold as well as expect you to fold. They expect you to defend. Instead, you forgive, not for them, but for your vibration. Forgiveness severs the cords faster than confrontation. And peace, real peace, is the loudest form of warfare there is. Remember this: when many family members know and participate, it's because misery organizes quickly. They bond through bitterness because unity built on hate feels like belonging. It gives them purpose. And until they taste healing, chaos will always be their comfort food. But you were never built to feed that table. You were sent to build a new one. That's why isolation hits you first. Heaven had to pull you away before revelation can reach you because you can't expose what you're still entertaining. So stop wondering why the family group chat got quiet, why invitations stopped, why your name left their lips when blessings came. You've been promoted to peace, and peace doesn't fit inside pettiness. Your assignment now is preservation. Keep your energy clean, your home prayed over, and your words precise. Speak protection, not paranoia. Declare daily, only love speaks my name. Only truth walks through my door, and all else returns to sender, transformed into light. See, because you are the light bearer, you're not the victim. You are the breaker, you are not broken. And even if they gather, they can't govern your destiny because favor isn't democratic, it's divine. Let them talk, let them test, let them wonder how you keep rising. It's simple. You were built from the prayers older than their plots. And what's blessed by bloodline purpose cannot be undone by bloodline envy. So cleanse your mind of their residue, release the need to be understood. Your job is revelation, not revenge. And your silence is strategy, and your peace it will be the prophecy. Stay covered, stay conscious, and stay undefeated. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.